Well, students, a very warm welcome to this session. This is basically for some of you who may not know how to prepare Google Forms. And so I just want to give you a small overview of how you go about doing it, basically to help you out with your planning of the unit test. Now, you all know that for your unit test, you have different kinds of objectives. You have understanding, application, knowledge, and skill. And you're a little confused as to, how you would include long answer questions, short answer questions, different objective type questions in your Google form. And I'm going to illustrate and demonstrate that to you with examples from the different special methods so that nobody is lost, everybody feels included. Now I'm going to first teach you how do you open a Google form, and this is how you do it. So I'm going to share my screen right now. Now, as you can see, the minute you have your Google homepage open, you will, the first step before you need to open a Google form is sign into your Gmail account, because you will need your Gmail account in order to use the facility of creating Google Forms. Now, the first thing is, so I will type Google Forms. Okay, and then you get this opening up. I hope you can see my screen. And then I click on Google Forms. I go to Personal and click on Go to Google Forms. So now I have another window opening up, which will be like this. Now, just understand one thing, that if you have created Google Forms in the past, they will all reflect in your gallery down like you can see here. If not, you have to go up here. You will have nothing in your gallery below, because this is the first form that you are creating. So I go to the plus sign where it is a blank Google form and I click on it. Now, the minute I open a Google form, this is what it will look like. And the first thing, just like when a baby is born, you need to give it a name. And so your form needs to have a name. So I click where it is written Untitled Form. And let's say, since I am planning a unit test and I don't have any specific subject in mind right now, I'm just going to type the unit test project. Now I come to form description below it. But first, before that, the minute I click on Untitled Form at the top, you will see the same title, the unit test project, has appeared there also. Okay, so all I need to do is click on top over there and the title gets transferred. Now for form description, I'm going to say something like, given below is a unit test carrying 20 marks. Whatever instructions you want to give. So read each question clearly and answer. Okay, and I can give the time limit saying you will be given, let's say, 45 minutes to complete this test. You can also write in here about the section. So I can say this paper will have 2 sections. Remember, when I explained the unit test project to you, there was something called instructions to the examinees. That same document giving instructions to the examinees will be typed in this description of the form. Okay, so now look at what I will do next. The next thing that I will do is I have to create a question, and the first thing I need the student to enter is his name. Okay, so I'm going to go to Untitled Question and I'm going to type name. Now, when it comes to name, I cannot put options, right? So it will have to be a short answer type of question, which is already selected. Now listen carefully, students. You see a little button here showing required, and I definitely need to know what is the name of the student. So I just click on this button and it lights up in whatever color you have chosen as your theme color for your form, and it's a short answer. So the student will be entering his name there. Okay. Now, okay, now the next thing is I need to know his roll number. So I would type roll number. again, it will be a short answer question. I will not give a multiple choice or anything. So it is short answer. It will be required. I will click on the required section. It already says number, so he has to answer as a number, and then that is confirmed. Okay, so roll number. Yeah. Then go back to the add button, which is for the next question. Before that, I realized there's an error here. This paper will have 2 sections, so I can put an S there. Okay, fine. Now I finished with roll number, and now I come back to the third question. Now this is where our planning of the test starts. Now you can see over here you have different options of questions given, and the first type of question is the multiple choice type of question, which you and I both know is an objective type of question. Now let me tell you some of the examples for which this can be used. Let me do it with an example from history right now. So I'm going to take the uprising, or the national uprising in India took place in. Okay, so that's what I'm going to type. Took place in the year, and I'm going to give some options, because you know that is the basis on which these tests are formulated. So 1930 is my first option. My second option will be the year 1920. The third option, and these are actually years in which other events did take place in history, so don't make up your own years. The next one is the actual year where 1857 is the year of the revolt, and the last is the year 1761 when the Battle of Panipat took place in reality. Okay, so I have 4 options. Now I'm done with this question, and I'm going, and again I have to come a little lower, and I say it's a required question. Wait, now I'm going to go to the one thing I want to tell you. Still now, this test was in the basis of collecting information, but we are giving it as a test which is going to carry marks, and so my first step is to convert it into a Google quiz. How do I do that? I will go into settings, and when I click settings, there are 3 kinds of settings. I'm just going to move this toolbar of mine so I can see other things here. Okay, so I have basically 3 kinds of settings over here. I have general, presentation, and quiz settings. The first is I want to make it a quiz, so I'm going to click on quiz, and I choose the option make this a quiz. As soon as I do that, other options come up. Like for example, it says, when do you want to release the grade of the students? So I say later, after manual review, because my test will have some objective questions which the computer will assess, and some other questions like give reasons and long answers which I will correct manually and then return their marks. Next thing is, what should the respondent see after he completes the test? Yes, he should see missed questions. He should see the correct answers, because all of you feel happy to know where you're right and wrong. And he should also see how many marks he's got for the objectives. Okay. And I click on save. Now again I'm going to go to settings, because let me teach you how to do all the settings first. In general settings, yes, I will collect their email addresses, so I know that that child has actually answered it from his own email address, and I will click response receipts. Why? Because then he'll get a confirmation in his email to say that yes, your response has been recorded. Okay, so not only if the respondent requests it, but I will click on always. So every time he submits a response, he gets an email saying response recorded. Yes, I want only one response so that he can't do guesswork and keep filling it as many times as he wants. So I limit it to one response. I will not allow him the option to edit after submit, because like that he can cheat, he can find out answers from his friends, and he can keep re-giving answers. And I will not also select see summary charts and text responses. He's not the teacher. He doesn't need to see how many have answered and his progress bar, etc. And I'll click on save. The third kind of settings, as you can see, are the presentation settings. So I don't need him to see the progress bar. I can shuffle the question order, and in your minds, all of you will know why I'm doing this, so that no child can even find out from his friend what is the right answer to a question, because his paper order will be different from the order of questions in his friend's paper. So yes, shuffle question order, and don't show link to submit another response. And for confirmation message, I want that it should be written, your response should be recorded. So your response has been recorded. Okay, and I save it. Now let us go further. So my settings are done. Now what do I do next? I'll go further with the next type of question. Okay, now you will see what has come up over here. You'll notice that a new thing has come up which is saying answer key. Now because I want to put in the answer key, I will click on answer key. Now for a multiple choice type of question, you have only one right answer, which is 1857 for this particular question, and I have to give it points. So the minute I come to points, I know this is going to carry 1 point, and I say done. The minute you do this, I'll just show you every time you type a question, I'm giving you a tip. Go to this little I symbol here and look at what it will look like to the child. So the test will look like this. It will say the unit test project, that's the test topic. For you, it will be history unit test, science unit test, standard this, class this, whatever. Then will be my instructions. The same instructions to the examinee, which we would type in a paper, will be typed in that top part. Then it will ask the child for his email address, his name, his roll number, and you can see little stars everywhere next to the question, which means it is compulsory. The form will not go ahead till the child fills that. So remember to keep clicking that required button every time you form a question. Now you have seen what it looks like. Now I'm going to close it and continue typing and preparing my test. So I'm going to go again to this plus symbol and I say add question. Now let me show you the next type of question. The next type of question, I'm not going to talk about short answer yet because I'm doing all objective types first. So I'm going to come to check boxes, which is my next type of question. Now for check boxes, the question that I have planned to take is the factors. Okay, so we're going to take the factors. Let's take an example from math. So math students don't feel left out. So I say the factors of the number 8 are. Okay, or better still, why should I say are? Because then they know there are many factors. So I'm going to say choose the factors, choose which of the following is a factor of the number 8. And I'm going to give some examples. Now I know 8 has many factors, so I can say number 1, I can then give number 4, I can give number 3, I can give number 2, and I can also give number 8 itself. And the child now has to choose. Now what is the good thing about check boxes is that there can be many right answers. Okay, so you should not ideally give a checkbox question for 1 mark because there might be many right answers to this question, and you're choosing this kind of a question to test a child's understanding. It's not only knowledge that you're testing even his understanding of whether he knows what is factorization all about. So I can give such a question for 2 marks, let's say, but before that I click on answer key. And which are the right answers now? I know 1 is a factor, 4 is a factor, 2 is a factor, and 8 is a factor. And I'm going to give this question now, let's say 2 points. Okay, and I say done. Now remember, I have to click my required button because it is compulsory. Now this kind of a question could also be used probably for something like vocabulary in English. Let's say I want the meaning of a particular word. So I give the word here and I say the meaning of this particular word is. And maybe from the options that I give, there are 2 words that would sum up to that same meaning. And so it can be used in English as well. About history, maybe there could be 2 rulers who are associated with a particular event. And in that case, again, I can say, so choose the rulers who were associated with this event, and maybe he has to choose the same thing. Okay, so you can use it for whichever subject and along the same lines. Use it to test understanding. Now let's go further. So again, I say add question, and I come now to my next type of question that I want to demonstrate, and it is drop down. Now in drop down, you must remember that there is only one right answer. So there will be many options dropping down, but he can have only one right answer. Let me give you a sample of a drop down question. So I say the function of the petals. Now this is in science. So I say the function of the petals is, and in my options I give, first is to attract pollinators, which we all know is the right answer, pollinators. And the second is, let's say, to protect the flower in bud condition, which I know is actually a function of the sepals, but it's a wrong choice. To protect the bud, sorry, to protect the bud, the flower in bud condition, sorry, the flower in bud condition. Now I could have many other options, but I don't want to waste time here. Maybe I could have another one, and probably that one would be something like, to add fragrance, okay? Or no, I won't say to add fragrance, because petals really do add fragrance. So maybe I say to facilitate reproduction. And I know that's not a function. So to facilitate reproduction. And I again will choose my answer key, and I know the answer key, the right answer, the function of petals is to attract pollinators. As you can see, it has lit up. I have to also give the points here, so I will say maybe just 1 point, because there is only one right answer and I don't want to add any answer feedback, so I say done. But then I have to choose the option of required as well, okay? Now let's look at the preview and just look at what our test looks like up to now. We had finished with the MCQ question. I had not shown you the preview of the earlier one also, so I'm just showing you the checkbox option. Choose which of the following is a factor of the number 8. So I will choose 1, I will choose 4, I will choose 2, and I will choose 8. Can you see that it has allowed me to choose all the right choices of the answers? Then the function of the petals is, so here will be my drop down options, but let me see what happens if I want to choose 2. So I say to attract pollinators, I can't choose anything more. It has taken that answer and that's final. But if I want to change my answer, yes, I can change it, but again, I can choose only one right answer. Okay. Now let's look at the next type of question. So again, I go to add. And my next type of question that I want is probably, we finish checkboxes, we finish drop down. I'll talk about file upload a little later in the short answer and essay type questions. A linear scale can't be used for you because it's normally used for surveys. It's like if I want to, talk about a particular brand that you use, and I want to ask you about, what you think about the quality of a particular brand, and I can give you a scale going from very poor to excellent, and that's what a linear scale is used for. But in your unit test, you don't need opinions of students, so we won't use a linear scale here. So let's come to a multiple choice grid question. Now, a multiple choice grid question serves the same purpose like a match the column question which you would ask in an ordinary question paper. You and I both know that for a match the column question, there is always one item from column A which has to match exactly with one item in column B. You can't do guesswork. So let's take an example of a match the column question. You could use it in any of your methods. I'm going to take figures of speech here. Okay. So I'm going to say, given below are a few statements. Identify the figure of speech in each of them. And let's see, 1 second, there's a small error here. Okay, so let's look at what is my first one that I want to give in column A. And I take it as she sells seashells. I then go to column, the next row, and I type, I've told you to stop 1,000 times. I then go to the next option and I type the world is a stage. And the last one that I'm taking here is the wind howled. Now I go to my columns and let's say my first column I'm going to type. I have to type now the 4 different figures of speech and I say the first one I'm typing is metaphor. The second one that I'm typing is alliteration. The third one that I'll type is personification. And the fourth one and the last one for me will be hyperbole. Now let's look at my answer key. Now she sells seashells for me is alliteration. Okay, so that's the right answer. And as you see, it has to be only one right answer. Even though here it might show 2, it's allowing you to select 2. But remember, when I do a preview, it will allow the child to select only 1. So you better select only 1 in the answer key. I've told you to stop 1,000 times is hyperbole. The world is a stage is metaphor. And the wind howled we all know is personification. And every answer will carry 1 mark. Now again, such a question probably for me will not just come for testing knowledge, but rather it is application. Why? Because when teaching them, I've taught them these 4 figures of speech. Now I'm giving them new examples, so the child has to, really reason. Because probably a letter or a sound is repeated, it is alliteration. Because there is exaggeration, it is hyperbole. Because it is an intended or implied meaning, it is a metaphor. And because there is a characteristic of a non-living quality given life, a non-living object given life, it is personification. So he is applying knowledge, and this kind of a question could go for application. Okay, I could even use it for math. If I'm trying to find out like types of numbers, or I could also use it like, where I want them to find out whether it's an integer or a fraction or a rational number, whole number. So again, he is applying his knowledge. Maybe in science, I can use it for something like deficiency diseases, where I know that rickets is caused because of deficiency of vitamin D. Scurvy is because of a deficiency of vitamin C. Beriberi is the deficiency of another vitamin. Night blindness is because of vitamin A deficiency, and so on. Again, he is applying his knowledge. In history, I could use it for events and rulers. So I say that which of these rulers were associated with a given event. Okay, and again, he can choose only one option per event. Okay, so these are the different options for using this kind of a question. I say done, I make it a compulsory question, and let me show you the preview. The preview would be like this now. So this is the question. Given below are a few statements. Identify the figure of speech in each of them. So when I click, now let's see if I want to click 2 over there, 2 answers. What happens? No, it doesn't allow me. So she sells seashells, alliteration. I've told you to stop 1,000 times, hyperbole. Okay, the world is a stage is a metaphor, and the wind howl is personification. Okay, and with that we are done. So let's proceed with our next type of question. I add my next type of question. And let's look at what it is. So I finished multiple choice, I finished check boxes, I've shown you drop down, I'll speak about file upload later. You can't use a linear scale question, and I've shown you multiple choice grid. Now there's a very exciting kind of question coming up next, which is the checkbox grid. Now a checkbox grid is a little different from the earlier one which I explained to you just now. Why? Because you can have many right answers or options to a given question. So it's a fantastic thing to use actually, even if you're testing application or understanding. And I'm going to give it to you right now with an example from the chapter on food and nutrition in science, where I have, like what are the different components of a diet like carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and vitamins, and which are the foods that contain them. So I'm going to say identify the nutrients present in a given food item. Okay, now let's look at how it goes. So my row 1 is going to be carbohydrates, row 2 is going to be proteins, row 3 is going to be fats, and row 4 is going to be vitamins. Now what do I do on this side? So column 1 for me is going to be milk products, oh, what's happened? Column 2 is going to be beans, which you know is a vegetable. The third one will be sugary sweets, which you and I both like. The next one will be whole grains. And I can have a fourth one, a last one, which will be meat. Now let's look at my answer key. So my answer key, carbohydrates are found in milk products. They are also found in beans. They're found in sugary sweets. They're found in whole grains. What about proteins? We know they're found in milk products and they're found in meat. What about fats? They're found in milk products. They're found in sugary sweets. They're found in meat. And the last one, vitamins, is found in milk products and in whole grains. So like this, I click on, I have to give my points. So I say, because it's a big question and the child has to think, maybe I can give it for, because I can't make it 0.5 marks per question, girls, that's the least. So I have to give it for 1 mark each, okay? But it needs understanding and application. So I could choose to give it for a long answer if I make it really tough. And the choice is yours, the sky is the limit, and you all are creative. So I leave the creativity part to you as to how you can use this kind of a question. So I've done my answer key, I say required, and I go to see what it looks like. Now when I come to the actual test, I can see what it looks like. So identify the nutrients present in a given food, and let's see what the child can do. So if he says carbohydrates, he can choose milk products, he might choose even beans, he might choose sugary sweets, he might choose this and he might choose this. So can you see it's allowing him to choose as many options as he wants. Proteins, he might choose milk products, he might choose meat because he studied and he knows it well. Fats, again, he might do tic-tac-toe, round I go, maybe he's confused, he puts beans also. And maybe vitamins, he doesn't know and he leaves it blank also. Okay, I don't think, but it would allow because it requires at least 1 response per row. So only when he clicks 1 response per row, irrespective whether right or wrong, it will proceed further. Even if he chooses all 4 responses, it will allow because it said at least 1 response per row, but he can't leave it blank. Okay. Now what will we do? We're closing it because we don't want to look at that. We want to go further with our actual test. So now I've finished all the different types of objective questions. You can see here, if I want to add another, let's look at what are the types of questions. I finished multiple choice, I finished check boxes, drop down, I've talked about file upload, you can't use linear scale, I've shown you multiple choice grid, and I've shown you a checkbox grid. Date and time are not for you. If you want him to put the date of the test as a record for UNIF to know that you gave your test on such a date, then yes, you can insert the date of the test, okay? So you'll say you want it in month, day and year format, and here you will write date only, okay? The word date will come, so that the child knows he has to write his date, and if it has to be there, now answer key, it doesn't need an answer key because you're not giving him marks for writing the date, okay? But I'll click here on required. Have you seen what I did? And then here Nothing. It's just this is for the type of question. Okay. So we put in the date. Time we don't want because I'll teach you how to start accepting responses and stop accepting responses because you are going to time this test. So we're not giving it any marks because it is not a graded question. With that, you will notice that I have now finished all the objective type of questions. Let me show you what are these options which appear right down here. You will see the first is for add question. The second one is for import questions. That is if I want to bring in another Google form, which I don't want to do. The third one is for adding a title and description, which I'll do after I add a particular section because now my objectives are over. This is for adding an image. The next is for adding a video. If I want to put in a video and get a child to describe what we saw in a video, fantastic. You can use that for a long answer type of question in English, where maybe you can show him a video and ask him to write a paragraph on what he just saw. And the last one is a very interesting thing which you all have to do, and that is add a section. Once you have finished all your objective types, must add a section. Why? So that he can't cheat or copy. He has to click on submit the objectives before he goes on to the subjective type. So I say add section. And now you can see it is showing me section 2 of 2. Now what do I say here for untitled section? I will say subjective questions. Okay, or I'll call it section 2. So section 2, and I will say this section includes long answers. Please type neatly. Okay, type your answers neatly in however many lines you need them to. Okay, so please type your answers neatly, taking as many lines as you need. So his mind is at ease. He knows he can write as much as he wants. Okay. Now what we will do is, so this is section 2. Now maybe if I want to add a description to that, but I will not add a description. I will say add. And now you will see I want to add a description. So let's say I want to put in a description for a particular kind of question. Okay, so I can say the next, these are short answers, give 2 points each. So I say give reasons for the statements given below with 2 points each. That means he knows he has to give 2 points for each give reason. Sorry, am I? Okay. Now what I will do is it's done. But I will now take it up now because I need to shift this up, okay, before I start the question. So my question type is give reasons, so the statements given below. Now I can put in my question here. So I come to the question and I say short answer type because it's going to be a short answer type, and I type the question here. So I can say give reasons for anything like the handle of a cooking pan is made of wood. Okay, now what we will do next is, it's already selected. I've selected it as required, and we know that it is a short answer, and the answer key is 2 points, which means the student knows now that he has to write 2 points for this give reason and explain it to get his 2 marks. Okay, and as we said, all short answer questions will be kept for 2 marks. So you will give it directly 2 points. That's why we wrote with 2 points each. Similarly, I can also give differentiate between over here as a short answer question. I'm not going to show you, but for short answers, I could even give differentiate between giving 2 points each. Metals and non-metals. Okay, so for short answers right now, don't get confused. I can ask him a short answer in English. If I had a closed chapter, the worth of a fabric, so I could put in a question from worth of a fabric over here. In science, I could take give reasons, differentiate between. In history, I could even ask him for any 2 of the reasons or the political causes for the uprising of 1857. 2 points, 2 marks, and it's done. So these are different examples of short answer questions. And again, I will click on required. Okay. Now we are done with our short answers. We'll now go on to the long answer questions. Now let's look at paragraph type questions. Paragraph type questions, I can put up an image also, or I can put up an image and I can then ask him to write something on that image. Now I'm giving it as an essay type of question. Okay, so how do I do it? So let's see now how to do a paragraph type of question. So I move to where image is and I click on image. I'm just giving you some ideas. Now I go to upload, I say browse, and I've kept things ready in a folder. So I insert my circuit diagram. And the minute I say insert my circuit diagram, you will see that the circuit diagram has got inserted. And I type my question. So I say name the components of the electrical circuit and explain the function of each. Okay, then I give it marks. So I come down to my answer key and I say required first and I give it points. I click on answer key and I give it, let's say, 4 points because it is a big answer. Okay, so here this is the question. It has a figure and I say done. And if you want to see how it will look, this is how it will look. This is one section. It won't go ahead because I have to fill up my thing. I will show it to you at the end, girls. Let's not waste time now. I just want to give you other examples of the same type of question. So again, I can show you another one here. I say add, I say paragraph, I say image, and let's look at how I can do it in math. So let's say in math, I want to put in this diagram now and I say open. And look at what happens. Now this diagram has been inserted and my question is going to be congruent angles have been indicated in the given figure. Name the type of angles in each pair and state their, or no need to state anything, so name the types of angles in each pair. Okay, and again, I know there are corresponding angles, there are vertically opposite, there are adjacent angles, etc. So I can give it 4 marks. So I say required and I can give it points. So I can give it directly, let's say 4 marks. And it's done. So can you see, in math, it's not impossible. I can even, I'll give you another example in math. I can say add, I can say again, first take paragraph type answer, then you take an image, and I want to show you what other things are possible in math. So I can take a construction, and I say open. So it's added a construction, and I can say write the steps of constructing a perpendicular bisector of a given line segment. So the construction is done. I just need them to write the steps of the construction. And you and I know I have given you that in this particular online unit test, an essay question. There can be only one and it can carry 4 marks. So job is done. Again, I'm going to give you another example in English now. And I must say required. I hope I did required for the earlier one too. Now let's go to an example in English. So again, I say paragraph. Now I say image. And I'm going to take another example in English for you. And I'll show you one in history. So I take picture composition for my topic here. And once the thing is uploaded, my question will be write a picture composition or write a composition on the following picture. And you'll have to say in how many lines. Okay, so you will say in 15 lines. Or whatever, however many lines. English students will know it better. Okay, and again then I give it marks. So I have to go to answer key whenever I want to give it marks. And I say 4 points and I say done. Let's look at an example in history now. So again we go to, and don't forget to switch the button of required on. Now let's do an example from history. Again a paragraph type. The image will be, let's say, something like the Great Bath. And here again, just to make it interesting, we can, put a picture here. So identify the image given below and write 5 sentences or whatever, however many sentences you want about it and the civilization to which it belongs. So the child knows what he has to write. Okay, and again you go to answer key, you give it 4 points. Let's keep 4 points fixed for all our essay questions, girls. I say done, I say required. So you can see how interesting you can make your one essay question of 4 marks that I've asked you to give in your Google form. Now I'm coming to another very nice kind of question which I leave to you all. Math students, maybe you'll be forced to use this particular type of question, and it is called a file upload question. Go to the type of question and you will see file upload. Okay, now for what is this kind of a question used? It's used when you want the child to work out a problem in his, maybe book. He'll take a picture of it. So you say continue if you're really interested in this kind of a question, and I can type an equation in my Word doc. I can bring in the equation here and say solve. Okay, so for now I'm just going to write solve. This is just to make it a little simpler for the math students. Okay, so suppose you are in a Word document and you say insert. You go to insert and you have equation. You click again on equation and I can probably choose whatever type of equation I want, and then probably I just select my equation and I say copy, and I will now come back to my Google form and I can paste my equation over there. Okay, so I don't know whether you're able to see my Google form screen, but 1 minute. I can paste it back in the Google form, and then maybe if you want x plus a raised to 2, it's very easy to select that little part there and put a 2 and so on. And now this is a file upload question. So the child will work out the sum in his book, he will take a pic of it and he will then upload that file over here. And you will see that that file upload question allows you maximum file size of 10 MB. So maybe a small picture taken in his notebook. Also number of files, you might allow only 1 file because it's 1 pic that you made of the sum solved. And then you go to answer key and you will give it again as we've decided. All answers will have 4 points. So this is a file upload question. It could be in English. I've asked him, to prepare here's something called information transfer. So maybe I've given him a whole lot of data and he has to plot a graph or a kind of flow chart with that information. So again, maybe he can do it in the form of a file upload question where he'll do it on paper, he'll take a pic of it and he will upload that file over here. In history, maybe I've asked him to prepare a timeline. He would do the same thing. It would work through a file upload question. And this could be used for the objective of skill. Remember, you have 4 broad objectives: knowledge, understanding, application, and skill. This could be a skill-based question for 4 marks. Okay. So these were some examples for you of the different types of questions. You also have, as you can see here, my total number of points are going up because I'm going on adding questions. You could also have another long answer type of question, which is, we saw it over here already. I'm not going to talk about it again. A paragraph type where I can say, write a letter to your friend inviting him for a birthday party, and he would be able to write. Okay. A few things that I need to tell you before I go on to the other features of the Google form. If you realized, for me, the date option appears right here at the bottom of all the objective questions. And that's because I typed it after I had finished typing in all my objective type of questions. But you and I know that the date won't come in the middle of a paper. So let me show you not only about the date, but how you can drag any question to change its order. Now, if you look here, as I move my cursor, you will see there are 6 dots. If you move your cursor over those 6 dots, you will get a 4-sided arrow. So you click here on this 4-sided arrow, and you start to drag it to wherever you want to take it to. Now, I want to take it just below my email address, and that's where I'm going to place it. Now, the question is, why did this date suddenly appear in the middle of a paper? The second reason could be that when I taught you about settings, you would have noticed that the settings, when I did the presentation settings, I had selected an option, shuffle question order. Shuffle question order is a very good option when you want to ensure that no 2 students will get the same order of questions in their paper. And in this manner, you can reduce the incidence of cheating and copying. However, when you click shuffle question order, all the questions in your paper are going to be shuffled at random. So the date might appear suddenly at the end of the paper, the roll number might go in the middle of the paper, and so on. So for the purpose of your unit test, because you'll confuse students if that happens, we will not select the shuffle question order. In that case, my date will remain wherever I have placed it in my question paper. The roll number will be wherever I have placed it in my question paper, and so on. So in short, for presentation settings, don't select any of these. I want to talk about another setting in the quizzes option. Initially, when I was explaining, I told you about releasing the grade we will select later after manual review is over. Why? Because, okay, I agree that students feel very happy when they see their marks of what they've got in the test. But remember, girls, you have 10 marks for your objective questions, 10 marks for your subjective questions or short answer and essay. Now, if the child has got full 10 on 10 for the objectives and you have not yet corrected the short answers and essay, when he looks at his scores, he'll see 10 on 20 and he'll feel sad. And then children start troubling teacher, when you will tell me my marks, when you will tell me my marks. So, we will, in this part where we say respondent can see, we will let him see his missed questions. We will not show him the correct answers because he might tell his friend the right answer if he finishes 5 minutes before his friend, and we will not show them the points or the values they have scored. When will I show him the points or values? After I have finished correcting the short answers and essay type, I will then show him his total marks and he will know how he has fared out of 20. This was the second thing I had to bring to your notice, and then I will click again on save. So let me check my presentation settings again. So when I look at presentation, nothing will be selected. When I look at quizzes, again, I said it will be later after manual review, and here he will only see his missed questions, and I will click on save. Now, another tip that I would like to give math students. When you look at this equation that I had typed over here for solve, I told you that you can type it either in a Word document or in the PowerPoint presentation, because both of them allow you the insert option of equation, and you have a number of options there where you have things written in under root, you have things with indices, you have things with brackets, etc. And it may allow you there to even edit the equation. So if I have something raised to like x raised to this little symbol over here, I could replace it with a 2 in a Word document, then copy the equation and paste it into my Google form. But if that is not an option, if you realize you are stuck and you cannot type an equation here, nor can you import that equation and paste it here from a Word document, all is not lost. You will just convert it to a file upload question, wherein first thing that you will do in such a question is you will bring in an image. Image of what? Of your written equation on a piece of paper. So you can handwrite your equation which you want them to solve and take an image of it and upload the image over here, just like I uploaded the image of the great bath or the image of the circuit, etc. Since it is a file upload question, maybe for a short answer of 2 marks, the child will also solve it in his notebook. He will take a picture of it and he will upload it over here as a file. So that will solve your problem, math students. You can have an essay question of this nature, that means a file upload, where you can put an image of the question, your handwritten question in a book, and the child also will upload his file comprising of an image that he has clicked of the sum which he has worked in his book. With this, I think I have completed a number of different options for short answer as well as essay type of questions. Now let me see if there is anything else that I have left out. I don't think so. There's one small thing that I want to tell you. For your purpose of the unit test, our objective questions were all of these types which I have already discussed with you. We had MCQs, we had the multiple choice grade, we had check boxes, drop down, etc., etc. Now some schools right now are practicing a particular kind of question which is a short answer question in the fill in the blank type. Okay, but you are not going to be doing this for your unit test, but I just want to introduce you to what happens if you want to give a fill in the blank kind of question. So again, let me do it now at the end of my paper, because I don't want to upset the initial part. So I can say add, or let me go right there only before section 2 and let me come here to my last question, and now I say add. Now the minute I say add, a new question has appeared and it's going to be a short answer type of question because it's a fill in the blank. Now I'm going to type, either I can say dash and I say is the capital of India. One second. There's a problem with my keyboard, no problem. Of India. Now I know that the answer is Delhi, but the child might answer it as small D-E-L-H-I, or he might answer it as capital D-E-L-H-I. But let's say it is something in history and I don't want to cut marks for his word beginning with a small or an uppercase letter. So what do I do then? In that case, I will go to my answer key and now it's asking me what is my correct answer. I will type both options over here. So I will say D-E-L-H-I and I will also put it as capital D-E-L-H-I. So what will the computer do? It will identify both these spellings and small letter or capital letter at the start as correct. And again, since it's a objective type of question, I will give it 1 point. This is what I wanted to show you just in case you ever have to set a fill in the blank type of question for your Google form, which is an online quiz. If you want to see what it looks like, I can just show it to you now. And I say required here. You must tick the required option. And let's look if I can see it in my preview. Now this is what it looks like. So you saw now my date has gone to where it belonged, right at the top. That's why I said don't shuffle the order of the questions. There will be name, there will be roll number. And let me look at my question saying dash is the capital of India. I can either type small D-E-L-H-I, I can type capital D-E-L-H-I, both will be marked correct by the computer. But for your purpose of the unit test, I would not advise you to use fill in the blank type of questions, especially because they may be case sensitive. So I will again shut this now. And I just wanted to tell the math students again that they can carry out, all these different kinds of questions which I just spoke about, because I have personally checked with ICSE, SSC, IB and IGCSE schools, and all of them for math are using the file upload kind of questions, where the child, because of practical difficulties for the teachers to type equations, teachers are taking images of their handwritten equations, uploading it as an image, and the children are working out the sums in their books, and they are then uploading their file as a file upload question. Also, you must remember, girls, that you must remember in math that apart from this file upload kind of thing, you can also have short answer questions, which I spoke about in the form of this file upload only. And objective questions for maths will remain like the other subjects which we spoke about in the earlier part of MCQs. You can have multiple choice, grade, etc. So English, the list is endless, girls. Please don't get confused. Now let me show you the last few. So I've shown you all the types of questions and the different subjects, the permutations, combinations, based on the different kinds of objectives of knowledge, understanding, application, and skill. Now, if you look at this little palette symbol over here, the palette symbol allows you to choose an image that you want to upload over there. Now, suppose you just want to keep to a normal simple image, and I just take something like this, okay, and I say insert. So you will see that my theme gets changed on top of my form, and now you will notice that the theme has got inserted. These theme colors will allow you to choose whatever theme color you want, and then in sync with that, I know you all have a good color sense, I can change the background color of my font. I can even change the font style. I can take anything that I want. Maybe if I change it to playful, all the writing will change to this. So there's another little tip that I want to give you. For example, if I want to choose an image that I don't have already in my Google form predetermined settings. So how do I do that? I would go to choose image. I will go to upload. I will say browse. And I already have an image that I have saved in a folder, and I say open. Now let's look at what happens the minute I do that. This image opens up. I select which part of the image I want, and I say done. The minute you say done, you will realize that that image has got inserted at the top over here, and with that the entire theme color, the background color of the Google form has changed. I can choose to make it a darker green. I can choose a little better background color, and again, for those who didn't hear me the earlier time, I can change the font style again to something like playful. Okay, and I've taught you about the palette symbol, I've taught you about preview, I've taught you about all the kinds of settings which were general, presentation and quizzes. Now let's look at this very important thing called responses. Now you will be telling your class that you are giving them the test at a particular time of the day. You will upload this test link in their Google Classroom, and you will be conducting it live on a Google Meet. So you can see your students while they are working at your test. So you will know whether mummies and daddies are in the picture, giving them prompts or cues to solve the questions. Okay. So what will you do? When you say accepting responses, you can start the test. Until you don't click this button, the test will not allow the children to attend it. The link will go live when I decide to say accepting responses, and when 45 minutes are up, I will just click the button and the test will be gone. They can't even press submit. So you must tell them, before I click the button, children, you have to click your submit and it has to be given. And what is the message I want? So I will type the message that this form is, or you can just say the test is now over. Why tell them in Thai Panda language? So the test is over. Okay, so then they know that now they can't do anything about it. As they are submitting their answers, their question answer test papers, you will see the number of responses increasing here. So you can monitor them by looking at the responses, and you'll know how many have finished the test, how many are left. So you can keep making announcements, girls. 5 minutes left, 2 minutes left, and so on. I hope you have understood all that I have said. Now, how will you share? This is basically for you to see your answers in the form of a spreadsheet, and you can explore this further. I'm not going to talk about this much. You will just say create a new spreadsheet, and it will create a new spreadsheet in the Excel format giving you all their answers. You can see individual responses, etc., etc. I will also show you here how do you send a Google form, because you'll have to send it via link. So you will just say, now the subject will go as the unit test project, and you want a link to share with them. So you will click on link, and you see a very long link has appeared. Just click on shorten URL, and you see the link gets cut down, and then you click on copy, and this link can be pasted in their Google Classroom. But before that, please mail this link to yourself. Okay, so take this link once you say copy, go to your own inbox and create a mail and send the thing to yourself. Okay, is this very clear, girls? So once you do that, you can send the mail, copy this link, and you can take it to yourself. Okay, send it to yourself, and the same link later you can post in their Google Classroom. Now, what are these options for? If you want to undo something, you have an option. You want to make a copy of this form sometime later for another test, you can do it. You want to scrap this test, you can move it to trash. You can even print your test paper later, or the response also. You can add collaborators. So suppose you and your friend want to correct the paper together, I can make you a collaborator, and you can also edit and share my test. But please don't do that, because I'm going to check your links, and each of you have to have an individual test. With that, I have explained all the characteristics of a Google quiz. Please go through this video, look at the different options. Your test and your project will carry more marks if you've explored all the different types of options, used your creativity, and made the test exciting, interactive, and based on all 4 objectives: knowledge, understanding, application, and skill. So with that, I will now end my explanation. Here's wishing you a fantastic, exciting journey of preparing and setting the unit test. The correction of the test, analysis of the results will be taught to you later. Thank you, and wishing you all the best always.